Alema Harrington here, and I'd like to share with you why my family trusts Dental Pros of Utah to take care of our teeth the right way, the biomimetic way. I recently heard about some folks that went to another dental office that offered biomimetic dental care, and although they were happy with the fillings, they were shocked at the price when the cost was nearly as much as a crown. They paid over $900 for each of the fillings. At Dental Pros of Utah, Dr. Criddle and his team are dedicated to providing cutting-edge biomimetic dental care at an affordable price. Sure, biomimetic fillings take more time and use higher quality materials than regular fillings, but at Dental Pros will even work with your insurance to get the best benefits for you. If you want to preserve your natural teeth and your wallet, call Dr. Criddle and his team at Dental Pros of Utah and American Fork. 801-756-0360. That's 801-756-0360, or visit their website at dentalprosofutah.com.
I want to welcome into the show one of my favorite recruits of this last recruiting class. He and Dallin Hoker, for me, were like the gems of this last recruiting class. And luckily for us, they run phenomenal routes. They jump really high. They run really, really fast. They catch a tremendous amount of touchdowns as well. Dallin Hoker and Gunner Romney are gonna, they're gonna do things that prior former BYU greats did, and I can't wait to see it. Gunner Romney is on the line right now, 4-star recruit out of Chandler High, part of the Chandler 3, baby. Let's welcome him in, the nephew of Matt Allen, Gunner Romney. What's up, Gunner?
Hey, how's it going?
Living the dream, brother, living the dream. When are you coming to BYU? When do you arrive at Brigham Young University?
So I think my move-in date is June 22nd, so I'll be up there for the summer semester of school, and then I'll just be up there until season starts.
That's exciting. What are you doing in the meantime? What's your schedule like right now?
So graduation's next week. So right now I'm still in school, but after that it's just been working out pretty much. Just kind of winding down, getting ready to go up there.
Remind Cougar fans where you're working out and how you work out.
So I work out like 3 or 4 times a day, just with a bunch of different coaches, just lifting, speed training, receiver drills, just all of that different stuff, just trying to get ready, just trying to be in the best shape that I can be, so by the time I get up to Provo.
It's Washington cottage cheese right there.
3 to 4 times a day. I can't even get 3 to 4 times in a month right now. 3 to 4 times a day, Gunner Romney working out. I love it, man. That warms the
I get out of school at like 11 every single day, so I gotta find some way to pass the time.
He's got that half-day senior schedule that we all love. Gunner Romney, ladies and gentlemen, 4-star recruit, and he's committed to BYU. He's no longer a recruit. He's now a BYU Cougar. We're keeping up with the Cougars. He'll arrive in June. Gunner, when did you find out that Jacob Conover was going to be committing to the Cougars?
So he called me about a week before he actually announced it. And he told me that he was going to be committing, and it was hard to keep it a secret because it was such big news. I was so excited. But yeah, about a week before he committed, and I mean, I'm so happy for Jake. He's honestly one of the best quarterbacks I've ever been around, one of the best leaders I've ever been around. Everything he does is just he's a perfectionist, and his hard work it's almost unmatched. The way that he just carries himself. I mean, it's kind of sad that I have to wait to play with him for a while because he's going on a mission, but, I mean, BYU fans should be really excited about him.
So, Gunnar, I got a question for you. You say you're working out 10 times a day. What is it that you are really trying to improve on right now? So I preface this when I played receiver here at BYU as well.
He's a teammate of Matt.
Matt Allen, yeah. When I found out you were a relative, your family to me now. Matt Allen's he's a brother. So what is it that you are really dialed in on? Where do you especially want to improve?
So at the end of the football season, I was kind of skinny, so I wanted to really bulk myself up, but at the same time, I didn't want to get any slower. I wanted to keep my speed and my agility up. So that's what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of lifting just to get bigger, but also tons of speed training just to stay fast. And then just overall, just to keep my routes good and just get quicker and just more explosive out of those. That's what I'm really working on right now.
So let me ask you one more question about that. When I started playing receiver at BYU, the offensive coordinator at the time was Robert and he said, "Hey, I got some film from this dude at Texas Tech. I want you to watch it." So I watched the film of this like 5'10" white dude from Texas Tech
that won like 8 Super Bowls later on in his career.
Later on, yeah. And so I mirrored that guy. Every single route I ever ran was just this number. I think he was 87 at Texas Tech.
Who could that be?
5 years later, it's he ends up like getting drafted or signs a free agent deal and bounces around in the NFL and then ends up becoming Wes Welker with the Patriots. Who are you modeling your game after? Like, what film are you watching, and where are you learning to run your routes?
So I watched a lot of Antonio Brown because I think he's the best route runner in the NFL.
Nice.
But obviously we have different body types, so it's kind of hard to model it after him. So I just kind of take bits and pieces from him. Like, I really love how Julio Jones uses his body, and he like big bodies people and just knows how to play that well. And then just taking like different parts from everybody around the league, like Odell Beckham, he's really creative in his routes and he knows how to get open. So just taking bits and pieces from different NFL receivers like that. I watch film all the time and just try and take little parts of their game to just piece it all together.
Gunner Romney, BYU Cougar wide receiver, is going to be competing this fall. He arrives at BYU in June. On with us here, Cougar Sports, ESPN 960. Over the last 2 years, you've been invited to all these different camps where you've competed against the best defensive backs in the country, whether you're talking about the Nike Opening there in Eugene, where you're going against the best defensive backs, and also competing with your wide receivers as well, because you're trying to get more looks, get more offers, etc. How are you elevating your game right now? Who do you go against down there in Arizona to give you a good look from a good defensive back?
I think that's one of the really big advantages of going to a school like Chandler High School, where we have like 10 D1 players come out every single year. So just the DBs on my team, we have a kid who signs to go to UNLV, I think he's one of the most underrated DBs in the whole 2018 class. And then we have a couple other DBs that they're still looking around on where they're going, but I think they're just as good as anybody in the country. So I go against them a lot, and we both help each other out, and it's a good deal because we're right here close to each other. We're already friends, and so we can just work out anytime we like.
So I'm aware of, Jacob Conover, you getting offered to BYU, that your tight end signed with University of Texas, UNLV defensive back. How many other D1 offers went out, and what positions did they play?
So in my class, just the 2018 class, I think we signed, I think it was 8 D1 players. So we have kids going to UNLV. There's 3 of them going to UNLV. We have someone going to ASU as a receiver too, as a tight end / receiver. We have a safety that's going to Air Force. We have a running back that's going to Northwestern, and we have a couple defensive linemen that are going to some smaller D1 schools, some FCS schools. But it's a loaded class at Chandler. Everybody can play at the next level. It's crazy.
Gunner Romney here on ESPN 960 of Chandler High, state champion. We know that Coach Herman at ASU made a strong push to try to secure the commitments of Jacob Conover and yourself. What was their pitch? What was the ASU's pitch to try to convince you guys to go to ASU?
So they liked the hometown hero pitch. Obviously, we're living right there next to ASU. So that's what they really tried to sell to me, was that you can stay right here at home, and then they tried to do the NFL aspect. Herm, he coached in the NFL. He's been around NFL people for many, many decades, many years, and so he kind of gave that pitch that he knows how to get people to the NFL. So that's kind of what they tried to sell to me.
So Gunner, like you, I also had a lot of offers coming out. So I played football in Idaho. I had Idaho State was talking to me. Rick's College, now defunct, they gave me an offer. Dixie, I think, maybe sent me a letter or two. So I know what it's like to be highly recruited. How did you make the decision to come to BYU? What was it that ultimately swayed your decision to sign with the Cougars?
So personally, I hated the recruiting process. I know
how that goes. Yeah, I feel you.
I hated that attention. I don't know. I'm just not that type of kid that just likes to be in the spotlight like that. But BYU, it always felt like home. Like it was my first offer my sophomore year. And so I grew up a BYU fan. My uncle played there, obviously. And so when I went up to visit there, it just felt right. Like everything just kind of fell into place. It's a very high standard school academically. It's a great environment to be in. And so I just think even if you took football away, I think that's probably where I would end up. And then the football program, Coach Satake, I love Coach Satake. I think the football program, I kind of struggled a little bit last year, but I think it's going to be different this year. I think it's going uphill, and so that's kind of what I based my decision on.
Yeah, the new BYU. So you mentioned your uncle, and when you were like 4 or 5 years old, we were playing in Albuquerque, and he had a big catch. Is there any way that you possibly remember what he did in Albuquerque, or are we just too old now?
You know what? I don't really remember. I remember going to a couple of games, but I just remember sitting in the stands just kind of like being in awe. I don't remember anything specifically about it.
Well, I'll give you a quick rundown. We lost a lot of games. We've lost even some more games, kept losing some games, and then we go to Albuquerque. We're down, and we're driving to win the game, and your uncle catches a little 10-yard out, makes a guy miss, gets into the end zone. I'm the first guy there to celebrate with him. We win the game. That basically launched us for the next 4 years.
Yep.
I mean,
that was the turning point.
That was the turning point for the Bronco Mendenhall era, and Matt Allen had that touchdown that really set the stage for the next 4 years.
That's awesome.
Little history lesson.
You just need to bring it up to build up your uncle's ego a little bit. Not that he needs it. He's a very confident man. He's one of the best physical therapists in the state of California. We got Gunner Romney on the line, Cougar Sports, ESPN 960. You were keeping it in the family. Baylor is at BYU right now. He's competing at the quarterback position, but also ran some wide receiver as well in the spring game. We saw him in spring practices. Tell us about Baylor. Do you think he'll stick as a quarterback, or do you think he's going to be pretty versatile and be able to play multiple positions for BYU?
So Baylor's been telling me that a whole bunch of the coaches, especially the safety coach, has been trying to pull him to switch over to defense. But I think Baylor, he really wants to play quarterback, and I think he's going to try and stick it out at that position, even if that means redshirting and maybe sitting a couple of years. I think he's really going to try and stick it out and play quarterback.
He had great stats. I look at Jacob Conover's stats, and I look at Baylor's, and I'm like, they're very similar in production, and Baylor was going against really good competition in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Texas high school football. He was playing against some good players.
Baylor is a tremendous athlete. How does his athleticism compare to yours? You're also a tremendous athlete. Are you guys similar in skill set?
I mean, this is a touchy subject because obviously I think I'm the most athletic in the family. But if you ask Baylor, he'll say he's the most athletic. But I don't know. I think Baylor was a really late developer. So when I was little, we would race, and I was able to beat Baylor in races up until I think his junior year in high school when he developed a little bit. I can beat him now, but there was a couple of years where he could beat me. But athleticism, I think we're pretty similar. I don't know. He just hasn't really worked kind of like a receiver or a safety a lot. So I don't know. I think if he actually tried to play it, I think he could be pretty decent at him.
You also have a younger brother that's pretty darn good. I think he's received an offer to go to BYU as well. What's his name? What position does he play? And what are his strengths?
So my little brother Tate, he has 3 offers right now. He's only a sophomore. He actually just got an offer from the University of Arizona today. But he's a monster. He's a linebacker. He's already bigger than me and Baylor. I don't even know. He's a super quiet, super shy kid off the field, but on the field it's different. He's mean. He's nasty. And so I don't know. He gets pretty scary on the field, but he's going to be a really, really good player.
What are the chances that BYU gets your little brother Tate?
I've been trying to tell him to commit already. So I think he's a BYU guy. I think he'll end up at BYU eventually.
Both the Romney brothers, Baylor and